Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video for today. So Figma is finally a publicly traded company. Remember, I think 2 years or so ago, Adobe wanted to acquire this company for $20 billion. The market thought they were crazy, they were overpaying. And in the end, well, the acquisition did not go through because of UK regulators, which means that Adobe had to pay a $1 billion penalty to Figma, which is quite funny because Figma today was supposed to go public at around $20 billion in market cap. Closed out the day. Well, first of all, they had to go public at $33, opened at, I think, $84, $85 or so. And as you can see, closed out at $115. And after hours, we're at $134, which means that this company is worth, close now to $70 billion. Now, I'll tell you what Figma is currently doing as a business, the growth rates. I'll show you a little bit of Adobe, and you can tell me if this makes sense or not. I know a lot of you did look at Adobe more recently because it does seem like a value play. The stock has been coming down a lot, yet the business still goes up and to the right, still expected to grow above 10% revenue, still very, very profitable, buying back shares and all of that. So let's talk about Figma in this video. I am putting this one on the watch list for sure, but I am not chasing this IPO right now. I am predicting a 50% pullback. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I don't think this company deserves to be anywhere near $70 billion in market cap, which in turn could help a company like Adobe, right? Getting maybe a higher multiple from the market. But let's discuss all of that in this video. If you enjoy this type of videos, hit all the buttons, especially the notification bell, so you don't miss any future videos and live streams. And if you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. All right, so first up, Figma is where teams come together to turn ideas into the world's best digital products and experiences. So you might see here a couple of websites and apps that you are familiar with. And yes, these apps, these websites such as Duolingo, such as DoorDash, Stripe, we've seen Netflix here, those are created and made in Figma. Now, Figma did disclose the amount of revenue that it generated over the last 12 months. That was $821 million, and that is growing 46% year over year. And that's, of course, much faster than Adobe. Now, I know I'm talking a lot about Figma and Adobe. I know it's not an apples to apples comparison, but since both of them do, let's say, operate in the design space, the design segment part of the market, then yes, I would like to put them in that category. But yeah, they are generating way less revenue than Adobe, but growing much faster than Adobe. They also have an 18% non-GAAP operating margin. They have 91% gross margins, 132% net dollar retention. Now, as we get further down the line and they report each and every quarter, we're going to see the trend of that net dollar retention. If it's going up, if it's going down, if it's basically plateauing. Every time they report, we're going to get way more information and get more educated about the financials of the business. 78% of Forbes 2000 use Figma. 76% of users use 2 or more products. And this is basically it, right? You've got Figma, ideate, visualize, build, and ship. And under those segments, you've got FigJam, Figma Slides, Figma Design, Draw, Dev Mode, Sites, and Figma Buzz. I'll tell you a little bit more about the pricing in just a bit, but they have 13 million monthly active users. 2/3 are actually non-designers. I repeat it, 2/3 are non-designers. So yeah, maybe give it a try. Go on Figma. There is a free, it's a freemium version, right? You can go and try it out and see, maybe you can make something, right? Because with AI, you can create anything you want. Just need the good prompts to make that work. And then they tell us 95% of Fortune 500 use Figma, 78% of Forbes 2000 use Figma as well. So this is basically how they make money. These are the pricing tiers. You've got the starter pack, which is free but limited features for all of the basically tools that we've discussed here before. Then professional. You see here, this is also I think a seat-based type of business model. So you see very, very low pricing, $3 to $5 per month only for collab. If you are maybe more focused on content, then you get all of this available to you for $8 to $10 per month. Then as you use more and more tools, you're going to pay more. If you're an organization, of course, you're paying more as well here. So for them to be making more money, one, they can release more tools and products, and that's how you upsell and monetize more. Two, well, just make sure that the organization maybe pays for most seats, and that's how you expand here as well. The very important aspect here with Figma is that everybody that I've spoken with that uses Figma loves it. Okay, that's very important, especially when we talk about the net dollar retention, right? We want to make sure that whoever is using Figma is still using Figma years after. And of course, the best case scenario is that they're basically upselling, that they're buying more and more products, that are maybe going from one tier to the other. And so from one user, yes, you had that acquisition cost, but that one user is now growing with you. Maybe it started with $3 to $5 a month. And then, I don't know, a year from now, they're at $16 to $20 a month. Or maybe you have here an organization, or maybe an enterprise here. So you'll be making way more money with them. I think currently that's what makes Figma quite special. Amazing product. I don't use it. I've tried to use it, but again, I don't have anything I want to build right now. But everybody that I've spoken with that uses it, whether it's a professional, a content creator, a company, everybody likes the product. It's a very good product. They don't mind paying for it. They might even want to pay a premium if they add extra features. So that's very positive. That's something that they've got going for them. And of course, as we've seen, they are growing quite rapidly, 46% growth year over year on $821 million in revenue over the last 12 months. That said, if we go back to the apples to oranges comparison here, so these two things here are basically what Figma and Adobe are competing with each other, which is not really a big deal because Adobe is not really focused that much on Adobe InDesign and Experience Design. Adobe has all of these other offerings that they are focused on, the Adobe Creative Cloud and all of that. The thing here is that if we're purely looking from an investor perspective, which makes sense since we are investors and we're looking at this from a stocks perspective, if we look at Adobe revenue per week generated, in this case here, last 12 months, $433 million revenue per week annually. I mean, quite a lot of money. And of course, Adobe is worth way more. I think Adobe is worth 160, 170 billion dollars or so. But if you start comparing the amount of money that Adobe generates and the market cap, and then you look at the amount of money that Figma generates and their market cap, you start to see a disconnect here. Again, I know completely different growth rates here, but still, even if we look here at digital media ARR for Adobe, growing 12.1%, it sits at over $18 billion. ARR for digital media, $18 billion. For Figma, we're talking about, let's say 1 year from now, $1.2 billion in revenue. 1.2 compared to $18 billion in annual recurring revenue. One is worth 70 billion, the other one is worth, let's say, 2.5 times that. There is an issue here, right? You can see the issue that I'm having as an investor. You can like Adobe, you can like Figma, or maybe some of you hate Adobe. That's also very possible. But then again, as you can see, Adobe keeps on growing and growing. And yes, they are releasing new products, Firefly, some new features, free features as well, AI credits, AI monetization. How is that going? Is AI going to destroy Adobe? To be honest, all of these questions, right? Is AI going to destroy Adobe? Are AI features like Cursor or whatnot, can they destroy a business like Figma? This is also a question that you can ask yourself, right? And if you think that this is ridiculous, well, I can say that thinking that AI will destroy a business like Adobe is also ridiculous. Because if I go back to what Adobe offers, I don't think I've seen one AI startup or feature that offers all of this suite of products in one ecosystem. That's the thing. It's all about building ecosystems and making sure that all of these apps, all of these programs do work together. Also, from a commercial perspective, right? Okay, it's cool that maybe your AI model is better than Adobe's, although Adobe's is a very, very good one. Go check out Firefly, whether it's text to image, image to video, text to video. It's amazing. But what's important here is if you want to use it commercially, Adobe, of course, can make that happen. I don't know if you can use Grok's or ChatGPT's or Gemini's image generator as a commercial licensed product. I don't think that's possible. With Adobe, they give you that possibility. You can basically do everything inside the ecosystem and then it's ready to be deployed, ready to be advertised. That's a big advantage here. And again, it's all about building ecosystems, which of course you can also see that this is something that Figma has focused on, right? Figma is not just offering you one product or two products. No, it's offering you a whole suite of products for your whole design developing journey. And so right now, Figma, as you can see, has been one heck of an opening day for their IPO. Can we go higher? I mean, it's always possible. An IPO like that, a lot of hype, we can always go higher. Remember with Circle, for example, Circle, the stablecoin company, went public. And if I go and put this on the daily, you can see what has happened with that IPO. Look at how much I have to zoom out to see here as well. We opened up also much higher than the initial price. We opened up here in the 60s, 67. It went all the way up to around close to $300. Then it went back down to around 180, went back up to 266, and now we're back to 180, $178 or so. So it's definitely possible to see Figma go up even higher tomorrow, and then we're going to start and see a pullback, right? If we look at the highs for Circle, right here at around close to $300, all the way to the lows, which are basically the price that we're at right now. That's a 41.6 pullback. So like I said before, seeing Figma drop 50% once it's reached its highs is definitely a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. And for long-term investors that are willing to invest in Figma, I know some of you got one share allocated through SoFi or Robinhood, but if you want to build out a position, take your time. Take your time because one, lockup period, right? I don't know when that's going to happen, 6 months from now or maybe 3 months from now. So take your time because I do think that this stock will come down back to earth. And in the meantime, yeah, maybe you can find some value in Adobe. Again, I don't own any shares in Figma or Adobe right now. Both of them are being put on the watch list because those are quite interesting companies to follow. So all in all, that's about it for me in this video. Do let me know what you think about Figma and Adobe down in the comment section below. Hit all the buttons and we'll see each other in the next one. Bye-bye.